So this question, we have three spheres. We notice that the one is 2m, this one is m, and this one is m, and they are all separated by a distance r. And so their masses, they're initially far away from each other. So what they mean is that these three forces were impossibly far from each other, and they were brought in close to each other such that their distance between them is r. And when they were very far out, the potential energy was 0. So they're defining this as 0, and them having more potential energy as they get closer. As shown, what is the new gravitational potential energy of the three-sphere system? So one thing to look at one way to look at this is to say that, okay, this is like the Earth, and this is like satellite 1, and this is like satellite 2. So the gravitational potential energy would be the sum of this gravitational potential energy and this gravitational potential energy as it relates to the blue one, but also the gravitational potential energy of one to the other. So let us consider this case. Let's call this A. And so the gravitational potential energy of A would be mgh. Now the mass of A is m, but g, we don't know how big g is, because if this is the Earth, then g is when they're this far away. But g actually varies. And so our equation for g is big G, big M over r squared. In this case, the big M is 2m. So we have big G, big M over r squared, and the height, in this case, is r. So that gives us G times, and now the big M is 2m times m over r, or 2g m squared over r. Now, by that same token, we could look at the potential energy of B, and we see that it'll be exactly the same thing in that relationship. It will be 2g m squared over r. And now, if we consider these two, we have the potential energy of A and B, and that is going to be mgh, where m, we'll say, is B, so that has a mass of m, and G is big G, big M, but the big M is the other one that has a mass of m, times the distance, which is r, all over r squared. So that gives us gm squared over r. Well, 2gm squared over r and 2gm squared over r plus 1gm squared over r is 5gm squared over r. 5gm squared over r.